Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant. Critical Analytics. Brothers and sisters, this is about the Abrahamic Covenant, which you are a signature to through your forefather Abraham, that the world doesn't want you to know about. So we're going to address this from another point of view here. We're going to talk about this time of unprecedented trouble and come to you from a different perspective. As I said, as we're closer and closer and closer, I make it clearer and clearer and clearer. So there's two times in our history that could be classified as unprecedented. There was one time that was called unprecedented before this time. And this time is greater than that time. And that was 66 trillion years ago in the creation of the moon. That was a time of unprecedented trouble because there had never been anything like that. There had been a war between the original men, the scientists. They had a major disagreement that caused them to go to the war to split the earth into two parts. It was such disagreement, such conflict, 100% dissatisfaction. So we're going to talk about that. And it says this time will be greater than that time. That time, the part of the earth was split, about 1/6 of the earth was split away. We're now called the moon. It caused this part of the earth to shift out of its orbit. It was a consequence of a great flood because the ocean that was covering the other part came back down as a big flood, killing millions of people. Shook the whole world. Gigantic earthquake. I mean, forget about the explosion. Think of an explosion that will blow 1/6 of the planet away. That's how serious, right, the disagreement was between the original gods, the scientists. See? And it says this time will be even greater than that. So we're going to identify it and try to explain it to you. Okay, let's go. This is war talk. See, we're talking war. See, this is real war. It's two times that the original man really went to war, twice. That time, and now it's going to war now. See? And we're going to see the reason why. Now the first one was the gender war. The gender war. Because there was only one being, as the Quran tells us. Right? See? With two natures. See? And so the scientists decide to divide the two natures into two distinct beings to personify each of the natures. One we call now female, one we call male. Before that, it was just one being. See, all incorporated in one being, that nature. Now it's in two beings. And there was great resistance to that, extreme resistance to that. I mean, we have went on we have went trillion years as one being. 10 trillion years. And then someone comes along and says, no, see? But we got to understand the nature of that. I'm not going to go into details here, right? But the universe expands as tension, like pulling a rubber band. You pull it tighter and tighter and tighter. The more you pull, right, the more tension builds up. See? And that's our creation process. But it's after 6 trillion years, the tension became very great. See? It became great that we could not maintain ourselves as one being anymore. The tension was just too great. We had dissatisfaction within ourselves. See? And it built up like that because you had a lot of people resisted it. They resisted for a long time. This idea came up, didn't come up suddenly, it came up, and this idea went on for a long time, thousands of years. And they just resisted. There's so much resistance until it came to the point where it had to be done. because dissatisfaction became so great. People became totally dissatisfied because they was, see, in other words, the creation process, as it expands, it would take like a rubber band. A little tension, a little piece breaks off. The more tension, a bigger piece, a bigger piece, bigger piece. It breaks off, then the rubber band, relax again. And then you start pulling again, and a bigger piece pulled off, and then it relaxes again. And that's how we do. We start with microbes and keep on until we get to where we got to now, where we actually split ourselves almost in half. Mentally. We'll get to that in a minute. See, but for a long time, they wouldn't. The rubber band would pull, but they wouldn't break off anything. They wouldn't bring. There was no creativity. See, in other words, you start with microbes, and you go to plant life. Then you go to insects, and fish and so forth. And then you have all the species in between, right? But they didn't have any creative process for a long time. They didn't do anything because that was the idea science came up with, and they didn't want to do it. They resisted. So it became so great it had to be done. So I'm gonna leave it there because it was, again, I'm gonna leave it. Just point out that it was so much resistance to doing that, to separating ourselves. It was one thing to break parts off, but remain essentially intact as the being we originally were. But when you start talking about we're going to split ourselves into two natures, that was a lot of resistance to that. So in other words, it happened. And so you had basically half the population agreed to do it and half the population agreed to resist it. And there lies the war. So they went to war. But there's another side to it too. It wasn't just the war between those who resisted. You also had the problem with those that went through the process. Because by going through the process, remember, you get the male and you get the female, but the male has to have enough female in him to communicate with the female, and the female has to have enough male in her to communicate. So that's the balance. See? But you have like an afterbirth effect. We had some females that had no male in them, and so they didn't have nothing to do with males. You had some males that had no female in them, and that was extremes. See, and they also went to war with the genders. They went to war too. See, so you essentially had three enemies. You see, because they went to war mostly in defensive, because we didn't want them. We didn't want those to the extremes. We didn't want them. See. So, in a nutshell, we leave it there. And I'm explaining that so we can go to the next. So when I go further, you understand why I'm saying the things I'm saying. Okay, so here we go. Now this was the. Okay. Now you won't hear anybody teaching that, because they have a difficulty saying it. Because you go and tell, you see that one in the middle right there? If you go and tell them that's what the first God looked like, they will tell you out of your damn mind. So they put the female down. But that's what the first God looked more like, that. See? Because he had the reductive power of a female, but he had the strength and the mind of a male. See? When I say the mind of a male, you got to be careful with that, because he had the mind of the female too. Right? But the mind of the male dominated. See? Because the female has a mind too. I mean, I do have to say that. Right? See? So, that's what the one, and so they was divided in two parts. And so what you see is two sides. But the one in the center was more like the original God looked like. See? So, I don't care that problem with it or not. That's the truth. See? Because they want to make you think that the original God looked like a male. But then they got to explain how they reproduce itself. They clone itself, how they reproduce itself. See, they can't make those explanations. That's the only explanation. So we'll move on. Now, the two mental gods. See, so now we got to the point, and the full, remember, at the full expansion, that means attention is greater as ever. That means the most powerful part of God is his mind. So a mind split, like we had the gender split, then we come to a mind split. Attention so great, he had to split the minds. See, so that's what the brain. Well, that's not really. I'll leave it. Anyway, the brain has two sides: the analytical and the spatial. See, two distinct sides: analytical and spatial. See, so I'm showing that right there, in the one in the middle. See, so what happens is that we decide to split in two parts. Again, one side all spatial, and one side all analytical, with just enough spatial and analytical to communicate with the in spatial, enough analytical in the spatial to communicate with the analytical. Same process. See, and you got the same resistance. Because who's going to resist, right? The one right there in the middle. Just like we go back here, right? Who resisted? The one here. Half of them resisted. All of them did. Someone went along with it. But the one that resisted looked like that one right there. Because they wanted to stay like this. They wanted to stay like this one in the middle here. And someone said, no, we'll go ahead and go this process. Well, I was going to stay just like this. They said, why we want to change? We've been like trillions of years. What's wrong with this? They said, no, we want to do this. And by doing this, we relieve the tension, right? And then we won't be dissatisfied anymore. See? But they disagreed. So the ones that resisted look like this, and the ones that went along with it look like this. Okay? Same thing here. See, this is what the ones that didn't go through the process look like, and the ones that did go through the process, they both look like this here. This is the end result. This end result. But again, now this side, say this side is the analytical, say this side is spatial. Say the right side is spatial and left side is analytical. Now this one's totally analytical. So it's more powerful than this one analytically, because this only half his brain is analytical. His whole brain is analytical. 99% of his brain is analytical. 90% of his brain is analytical. 90% of his brain is spatial. So he's got more spatial power than this one did, the original God. That means his creative power is much greater than the original God. His technical problem that there is, you got the being it's more technical. So you got the two gods. See? But you still got these around that didn't go through the process. That's resisting it. See? And then you got the extremes. You got the technical extremes. That's what we call the devils. No spatial, totally technical. They're totally against the spatial. They can't communicate with it. They don't understand it. Don't be bothered with it. They're the devils, right? Remember, say you go to the extreme, and then you got the spatial, so spatial, extremely spatial. See, most of those are Christian blacks. They're not the demons. They're so spatial. They don't want to do anything. Oh, you hear them talking about, oh, I ain't worried about nothing. Jesus take care of it. We just have faith. You with fire constant. We just have faith. Just have faith. And what the hell you got 2 hands and 2 feet and a mouth and a brain for? If that's the case, why did Elijah Muhammad spend 42 years building something if we all had this faith to sit around and have faith and let the angels come and do it for us? See, you got preachers teaching that stuff. Now you got fire cons preaching that's just out to say, well, he hasn't done anything in 40 years. Or just have faith. We're gonna eat, just don't worry about it. Just have faith. See? And you got what? See? And you got the Sunnis over there, that's their whole idea too, right? The devils throw a cruise missile over there and they throw a Quran and some bees back up at it. How is that working? So you got the 2 extremes there. We don't want either of them. We'll get rid of devils, we'll get rid of, right? A lot of those are scriptees. Time anchors. They fall in that category. Okay? So this is a new creation. Like the gender. Now we got the all identical. And we got the spatial. Spatial represents in loose. Well, I put Elijah Muhammad there, but to make a point. But the point is that those be with Suleiman. See, those elect in the Lamb's Book of Life. See, they're almost totally spatial. That's why the Quran, the Injil, is a spatial book. And nobody could take and break that book but Suleiman, because you had to be a spatial God to do it. It said even an analytical God couldn't do it. It's just like in the creation when you separated genders, right? Well, the woman couldn't compete with the man with strength. She couldn't compete the male with the strength, and the male couldn't compete with her in beauty. And so, Master, how can I compete with me, right, in the spatial in the spatial sphere, and I can't compete with him in the technical sphere. But he has a tool. So he's got that will that demonstrates his power, which is technical, a technical marvel. Even the devil says a technical marvel. And Suleiman's got the angel, which is a spatial marvel, because they can't touch it. They can't touch either one. And it's so brilliant that it's more brilliant than anything either one of them can do. They can't do either one. The so-called ambidextrous mind, if you want to call it like that. Ambidextrous means, you're even-handed on both sides. The ambidextrous mind, that's the old mind, right? They can't do either one. Because you got to be a technical marvel to do the will, and you got to be a spatial marvel to break down the angel. See? So you see right in the middle there is those that went to the process and those that didn't go to the process. Those what you might call the Somalis and the Ethiopians, right? See? Because that's what we looked like before that. You see? See? Because we had if you look at Somalis, they got really black curly hair. Well, that's what we had. We didn't have the dark, deep features, right? See? And so now you got that kind of hair on the technical side, on the spatial side, you got the nappy hair and dark. We got the curly hair and light. The two distinct. One represents the analytical mind, and one represents the spatial mind. That's the new. And who are the enemies? Enemies are same thing. The one to resist the process, and the two extremes. Who resists the process? That's also the Arabs. They resist the process. See, they're the gen of the time. They're the gen of the time. All the ones resist the process. That's the probably most North Africa, or because Arabia is part of North Africa, right? So you got all of that. Ethiopians, the Somalis, all that, right? Those that resist, they're the ones that resist the process, but some of them went along the process. You know what I'm saying? So went along the process. So it's like, and so now they come at two groups now, and those resisted, they still resisting now. They still resisting now. They want it back like that's why I call Arabs a jinn. They want they don't want to change. They want they want it back like it was. They want to keep it like it was. Why would it change? We like it like that. You see, the one God. Even though even in their own Quran tells them there'll be two in the end. See, so they're resisting. See, and then I said we got the two extremes. See. We got the devils, which the demons on that side, right? Because they still, they devils. There's a degree of devil. They look like us, but they still with the devils. They resist because they're on the stream. See, and they all fall in what the Christian. They all fall in the Christian sphere. See. And then you got the other blacks that are original, they went through the process, but hey, I ain't going to do nothing. God, Jesus going to take care for me. I don't have to do anything, right? See? They just sit around and live a parasite. They parasites of other black people. And we have scriptees for that, I mean, the original people, right? Not demons. The scriptees and the time analogs, right? Because remember, time means that you're changing energy from one form to another. The time, the scriptees, and the time because they're not doing that. They want to keep it like it was. You see? They don't want to do anything. See? So those are enemies. I told you it's a vision war, it's a mental war. And it's the same scenario that we had back in the creation of the moon, but it'd be worse this time. It says nothing like it. So if you think about it, I keep trying to, I can't get the point over to the people how bad this is going to be. It's going to be like nothing they ever seen before. Worse than that. Only thing, the angel, the elect, they will not hear the faintest sound of it. That's going to be protected from it. But everybody else is going to fall into it. And you don't want to go through that. So I'm going to leave it there, bro. Since I really didn't want to talk about this at this point in time, but we were so close, and because of certain things that just come up, I thought I'd go ahead and mention it because I kind of like hitting on it. So I get to the root of it. This is the root of it. It's the same situation. It's a battle between the minds, right? It's the new minds coming on the scene, the analytical and the spatial, the personification of analytical and personification of spatial, just like you had the personification of beauty in the female and personification of strength in the male. Now you got personification of analytical, right, in the Shia. See, because these devils, they technical too, but they won't submit. They won't work with the spatial because they have no spatial in them. They totally on the extreme. But the Shia, right, they do. Like Farah, he's technical, but he has enough spatial to keep under control. They can communicate. See? Because it's him, right, on the analytical side, and Suleiman on the spatial side. See? The high priest, right, and the God. And it says B, and it is. The space side is B, and this technical side bring it into existence. And we have a little special situation here because we have a whole nother people that still represents the ambidextrous people, right? Like the Somalis and whatever, right? They submit. See, there's the Levites, right? They adopt in, and what they are, they like to go between us, between the spatial and the analytical, because that way it works is that you come up with the ideas. And the technical brain is this, but you need the blueprint. So in other words, you need someone to convert the spatial, those creative ideas into a blueprint that the technical people can understand. That's their job. See? And then we have another group that's a little below all of that. They're like the workers. Because once you take, okay, now you give the blueprint, right? Now, he sets it up, all the technical things need to be done, but you need the workers, right? And that's the Arabs, basically. See, they call it the New Earth. See, so you have the spatial God, and you got the technical God. One produced a technical marvel that no one this world cannot duplicate, cannot come close to, and one, right, was able to break a space, was able to do a spatial task that no one in this world could do, not even the God himself. So no one heavens, earth, under earth. Why do you think they tell you that? So you say, well, why? I mean, God couldn't do it either. You got to answer that question because that's what it means. It says no one heavens, earth, under earth. That means no one can do it but him, period. See? And no one could do that spatial, that technical marvel but Master Muhammad. And now they're admitting that those things are there. And they can't touch it. They even say it's like a million years ahead of our technology. I don't know how they know that. Understand? See? Two sides of the brain. There you go. Now you got two master gears, but they're in sync with each other. See, before we had two master gears, we had Suleiman, right? Suleiman, and you had the Antichrist, the Christ and the Antichrist, and they was opposing each other. Now Master Prophet Muhammad's going to take them out. Once he take them out, then he's ruling on that side, and now they're in sync. That it? Okay. Now see here, this is what I was talking about. Up on the top here, that's the spatial. That's the spatial. Right. Here is the technical. Here is the ambidextrous. That's the jinn. I mean, not the jinn. The Levites. Right. The Africans they still old creation. Right. So they still both sides. They have both sides. You know, they both use both sides. They have the left and the right still. See, we're 100. We're 90% spatial. The Shia are 90% technical, right? But the Levites they 50% technical and 50% spatial, and they're the go-between, the main communication. And these down here, the NOI and everything, they're the workers that bring, you know, that actually do the work. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See, everything's in sync. Being it is. See, we're gonna make this. We're gonna turn this creation into something that never been witnessed before. Even the first God couldn't imagine it, because remember he was ambidextrous. See, and he couldn't imagine the beauty separated personification of the female. He was beautiful, but his beauty didn't match the beauty of the female once she was separated out, because she was all beautiful. 90%. She had 10% strength to be able to communicate with the male. And he couldn't match the male's strength, because he was 90% strength, 10% beauty. So they can communicate with each other. I think that's it, brothers and sisters. Yeah, we got, that's pretty much it. I think I covered everything. So I don't want to make take a long time with this. See, but that's the nature of the war in a more mathematical way. See, trying to explain it, right, in a more mathematical way. I told you these are mathematical books, but I try to explain it in context of the war that took place with the gender. It's the same, almost identical. It's the same process. This process goes over and over again, but these are extreme processes. These two processes cause major war, major resistance. Major war, major resistance, because we're at fundamental. That one, the previous one was physical. That got to the physical side, man. It got to the root of it, to the very nature, got to our natures, right? But this one gets to our mind, and there's resistance. There was great resistance to it, and this resistance is to be greater than that resistance was back there, and that resistance back there caused the earth to be split in two. And they said unprecedented. That means it's going to be worse than that. That means the earth's going to be blown up. I don't think so. That's from Muhammad is working hard to make sure they don't scorch this earth, because that's what they will do on the way out. But I think it speaks more to the destruction that's going to take place, the people that's going to be killed, because it's not going to be. They said there's only going to be a few left on this planet when this war is over. They said there's going to be a few people left on this planet when this war is over. And right now it says about 7 billion. See, and the way it's talking. Right? They say it might be less than 1 billion left. Can you imagine that? 6 billion people wiped out. It's be less than 1 billion left. Is that why they say unprecedented? Because a lot of people died when the moon was blasted away. But it said this is going to be unprecedented. So they're referring to, right? How many people are going to die? Or this distress and destruction, because it said women gonna be eating their own children. The weather's gonna go crazy like you can imagine. It's going crazy now. You ain't seen anything yet. The Quran says that the winds and the seas and everything be raging and roaring. But those with Suleiman, they're going to be delivered by Farad. So they, with the faintest sound of raging wars of hell. But see what's happening here? You got Suleiman, right? He's going to war over here for the spatial side. Because we're going to be, the spatial side is going to be tacked over here. But what's being tacked over there? The analytical side of the mind is being tacked over there. The analytical side of the mind, that's the Shia and Farad, they're being attacked over there. See, you got the two wars. See, you got the spatial being attacked over here. See, that's us. We're going to be attacked over here. We're being attacked already, actually. And the analytical side has been attacked over there. So there's going to be two wars. One over here. That's the spatial battle. And an analytical battle over there. And then they come together. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. I know I get real technical and mathematical. I try to, I'm not being condescending, but I'm trying to, keep with the KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid. Because I know it's very complicated stuff. And I work hard to try to make it. And I'm not a good communicator, I've never been, because I don't talk to many people. I mean, I talk more in the last few years than my entire life, because I'm not, everybody knows me now, I don't talk very much. Can't get a word out of me. So I've never been a good communicator, so it's very difficult. But I'm trying, brothers and sisters, try to put it in a way that people can understand it. See, but that seems to be a problem with a lot of, I don't know, it seems like more messages and, all message and prophecy had a problem. Prophet Muhammad had that problem. He couldn't read, he couldn't, Elijah had that problem. But somehow Farrakhan don't have that problem, do he? He's kind of an oddball, ain't he? But he don't know shit, do he? He doesn't know any of this. He has no idea. He heard this first time, blow his mind. He don't know any of this. He has no idea what's going on here. See? So it's the battle between the analytical mind and the spatial mind. I'm trying to show the enemies that's trying to stop it, those that's resisting the process altogether, and those that the afterbirth of the process on the two ends. And we don't want them because we're good at it. See? And they don't really want us because you got the males that they totally don't have nothing to do with females, nothing. And you got the females that have nothing to do with want to do with no, they have no connection, And that's what they call some of them. Right? So I hope you understand what's going on in this war. See? Because in a few more days, you're in it now. See? But a few more days, hit a boiling point, and you won't miss it. Some of you are already aware of it, but no, you won't miss it in a few more days, because that's why, brothers, I'm going 24/7 gets information, because once it hits, you're not getting information like this anymore. You're gonna be getting information. We're gonna be prophesizing. Those of you learning, you'll be prophesizing. But you'll be more prophesizing and teaching, because it's gonna be so much. This is gonna be so dramatic, and time is gonna move fast. Time will move fast. See, everything will be sped up. See, if you're moving slow, you're gonna be lost. You're gonna have to keep up. See, I have to keep up pace with Master Muhammad. He's the God. He's leading it, and I gotta speed you up so you can keep up pace with me, because I gotta keep up pace with him to get your ass out of here. Remember, I tell you, we're time travelers, and Master Muhammad's moving fast. I'm trying to get you sped up. See, because we gotta keep up with him. He's moving fast. See? Master Muhammad's moving fast. I'm trying to get you sped up. Keep up with him so you get the hell out of here. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm going to leave it there. Assalamu alaikum. Again, if you understand any of this, brothers and sisters, right, then come over. Let's help you. Teach you the angel, teach you about the message of the covenant, right? Abrahamic covenant. Try to get you up to speed so you can help get our people up to speed. Because things are going to be heat. When boiling means, that means the temperature is moving. Everything's moving fast. That's what boiling is. Temperature gets hot. Temperature means how fast molecules or atoms or whatever the components are moving. That's what temperature is. Boiling point means they're moving very fast. These people move very fast. So to get the ball in point, everybody's moving fast. You have to think fast, move fast. They keep getting burned up. Remember the story of Sodom and Gomorrah? Abraham, they had to get out of town fast. Where it say, flee, don't worry about nothing, don't get nothing. It's telling you, if you understand the scripture, say, you have to move fast. That means first of all, you got to know what the hell. Move fast ain't doing no good if you're going in the wrong direction. That's why we need these beacons to make sure you're going in the right direction. See? Then you need the angels so you can be moving fast. Because you have to move fast. If you can't keep up, you're going to be left behind. Remember, Master Rob Muhammad Michael, he delivered those Lamb's Book of Life. Those that can keep up, read the 10 virgins, right? They couldn't keep up. The 5 of them couldn't keep up. So they got left behind. And you don't want to be left behind, because then you're in the fire. And if you're in the fire, without the 5 fundamental principles of Islam, you're going to get burnt. There's to be moved fast, brothers and sisters. And if you listen to the brothers and sisters that's catching up with this angel, they move, they pick up speed. If you listen to them, they picking up speed. They're thinking faster than they were thinking before. See? And you slow down, you slow compared to them. And they're picking up speed. They're getting into gear. See? And we're trying to get you in the gear. Because Master Muhammad moved fast. And I'm the only one who can keep up with him. See? Farrakhan and them, they're so lost, they couldn't keep up if they wanted to. I mean, he had a hard time with a wheelchair. See? That's one way of distinguishing demons from everybody else. See, because they ain't going to be able to keep up. They're not going to be able to keep up. We're trying to get you in gear, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.